Thank you for joining us here in Ljubljana.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I have a question for you. One sentence answer, please. Why does an IT company need a chief designer officer? Chief designer.
Yeah, it's curious, isn't it? But I think it's because, at least I hope it's because, we can design a future. And since everything SAP does points into the future, we need to know what that is. And that's my role. So I have a strategic role to design the strategies that leads us to a future that we all want to live in.
Okay. Designing the future, this is the job I would like to have as well. But I'm not as nearly as competent. Okay. So tell us, Martin, without this harsh limit, one sentence, tell us what kind of future would you like to live in and what kind of future are you designing for us? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will do. All right, guys. So what kind of future do we want? That's the big question. It's up to our imagination, really. It's up to you. If you look at this, this is black canvas, white dots everywhere, okay? Technically. But it also, if you look at it again, lots of adventure, possibilities, alien civilization, if you wish, right? An industry. Who knows? There is something that you can imagine. And people are good at that. That's what people do. This is why we progress. We imagine futures. Sometimes we actually build them too. And you can ask, why is future so important? Why do we talk about the future so much? And I think the answer is very human and very simple, that we don't think about every day. Maybe we shouldn't. That you, everybody you know, your family, your pets, your neighbor, everybody, basically, will spend the rest of your lives in the future. So what do you do about it? What choices do you make? How do you map, plan, and inspire a future that we all want to live in? How do we build it? And it's really hard. So I will tell you how we do it and why we do it. Because what SAP does is maybe pretty obvious for many people. This is why you need to spend time and invest teams and budgets in it. Because you have no idea how the future looks like. You know, the future is as unpredictable as my haircut every morning. If you told people, asked them what they want, they wouldn't tell you internet. Because internet is, you know, unimaginable, 89. Today, we take it for granted. This technology existed. Someone just connected that it became a thing. And here's the thing, the separate changes are coming faster and faster. This is the first thing to learn. It's hard to track because it's exponentially faster than the last time you checked. Each line here is a change. Like a Gutenberg moment, right? So Gutenberg, then we had, I don't know, space travel, then we had internet and Facebook and all sorts of animals on Facebook. All these things are not any longer separate moments that you can look at, react, go to market, look at the next one, go to market. No, they're coming together and they're becoming a flow because they double in speed every time you look. And that flow is the source of the inspiration, the change. And to understand how unpredictable this is, how hard to understand this exponentiality, I use something from Singularity University. Anybody aware about Singularity University? Couple of hands? Cool. Very good. Yeah. I think this exercise is the most telling one, the 30 steps. If you imagine that you're taking 30 steps forward, each step is 1 meter. Okay, everybody can predict that I would be somewhere at the camera guy over there, okay? It's easy. You can predict it, you can set budget for it and time, and people. Your competition can do the same thing. But what if that's not true? This is not how change is progressing, linearly forward. Change is exponential. It doubles each time it takes a step. So first step is the same, second the same, it's double, 2. The third is very unfair already. I'm taking 4 steps, you're taking 3, and then 8, 16, and so on. So just to try your brains here, if you're going to predict the future in this speed, Where is the 30th exponential step in this? Who can really count really, really fast this morning? Okay, I give you the answer because unless you're a savant, you cannot know. It's very, very far away. This is the 30th step, 1 billion meters away. And even that doesn't compute. So you need to compare to something else that, makes sense, like 25 times around the globe. That is the difference between 30 linear steps and 30 exponential steps. And future is exponentially faster than our brain computes. So that was the first thing to understand. Future is exponential. So don't fight it, but put someone to count on it, okay? Second thing, very, very unexpected. The technologies and the changes come from all sorts of directions. And when they start to converge, unexpected results come out. So who plays with Barbie a lot? Yeah, a couple of hands. It's okay. It's one of our customers. It's a good excuse. Anyway, Barbie, or Mattel in this case, understood that. Change is exponential and very unexpected in its results. Let's have a look at this. See if we have a little bit sound to that.
I want to be a Oh, wait a minute. I want to be a scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
Yeah.
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
It happens to me all the time. That's gravity, pulling you down, sometimes with an ouch.
Yeah? Did you know about this? That you can take a doll, plastic doll, out for dinner? That you can have almost like a Trump, Miss World kind of conversation? Quality? This is the unpredictable future. We couldn't know. So what is happening? What did Mattel, our customer, understand? Well, they understand the Moore's law. You know the Moore's law where the CPU power is getting exponentially cheaper and faster. So now it fits in this plastic piece of a toy. The power that you maybe used for very serious computing 10, 15 years ago, it's now here. It's cloud computing. It's natural language processing, so some kind of artificial intelligence, slim variant is going on. It's Wi-Fi. We take Wi-Fi for granted, but this is Wi-Fi. And we can continue with the technologies in there. They are converged in a way we couldn't imagine just some time ago. Now it's here. So that's the second thing. And then it comes in an ecosystem. All sorts of changes start to converge. So what would happen if the kid is hungry and says, "Hi, Barbie, I'm hungry"? What's the future you would imagine after that? It's an exercise. We don't have to do it now, but I do it all the time. Because Barbie can Google, right? It's cloud connected. It has Wi-Fi. And on Google, there's advertising for food. Hamburgers, for example. And Amazon can deliver a hamburger with a drone in 10 minutes. "Hi, Barbie, I'm hungry." Oh, look, there's a hamburger. Is that okay? Is that a future we want? It's a hard question. I don't have an answer. What if the lunch is stolen? Someone took the hamburger from the kid, another kid. And digital cameras are so cheap, so Barbie had 2 of them in her eyes. So she can record the kid and have face recognition and know from the cloud who it was. So Barbie can call someone, the parents. Mattel, SAP, who does she call? The police? "Hi, is it police?" It's Barbie. I have a recording of a thief. It's a possible future. This is what we do. We try to understand what's happening. This young entrepreneur driving his company in an emerging market has access to more information than the US president 15 years ago. And he probably understands more of it than the current president. This is how fast it is. So the future is exponential. So it's beyond human calculation. you need help. You need to sit down and try to understand it. It's converging in very unexpected way. So don't expect something, try to predict it in a way that where you fit in. And it's imaginable. As soon as you imagine it, you can do it. It can be fantastic, because this is what futures are for. And let me give you 3 examples. These guys are building rockets. It's not only because they are guys and very rich. It's actually another ecosystem of changing that is happening. Japan is developing extraterrestrial construction machines. Yeah, they're investing billions in that. The Swiss bankers invest in Mars. Never heard about it before. One of our another customers is building a new Audi Quattro that you can drive on the moon. And this guy I met last summer, his name is Joel Sorcel. He worked for NASA for 17 years. Then he quit NASA because that's boring, I guess. And then he started his own company, Transastra. He's building this thing. He has a prototype in somewhere in American desert. He will shoot this up in space. He will capture asteroids like Bruce Willis did in that movie. You remember? Yeah? He will do that asteroid. Then he will direct solar power on the stone to squeeze out rocket fuel. Yeah, that's what he will do every day. I asked Joel, why are you doing this? Oh, Martin, don't you understand? We need gas stations in space for our rockets. Why, Joel? Well, don't you see, we will have a life in space. We will have 7-Eleven. You will go to work for vacation in our solar system. This is like the Wild West, building the railroads, but for space. And NASA gets it too. I mean, it's very hard to see what that is. Any guesses? Huh? Spider. It's a spider, yeah. It looks like a spider. This is a 3D printer, obviously, in space, because you can print constructions, for example, houses to live in space, because there's no gravity. So you can print fantastic, imaginable constructions. This is what NASA thinks of the future. And I wonder if there's any business out in space, try to read this number and not laugh. This stone is worth 8,000 quadrillion pounds. It's a made-up number. It's a Harry Potter world. It exists. It's just metal and minerals on that one single rock that we can capture and live off. And even NASA understands that, you know, if you imagine a future and you're an expert in that, in what you do, like NASA, just space travel, you miss some stuff. You need to ask someone else, another expert, or someone that is not an expert but have an idea. NASA have a special program called NIAC. Amongst other things, they go to the science fiction movies to see what they do to predict the future, because that helps NASA to understand where they are going. This is how hard it is, and this is how people invest seriously in innovations. So this first example is articulation. You articulate a future. We will industrialize space. I just said it. I show it why I think it's going to happen, and now we can go to work and do it and have a business there. Second example is this. Your brain will not evolve very much, the next 1,000 years. It will stay as it is, but it can get much more intelligent. And Neuralink is a company that builds a brain-machine interface. Elon Musk is investing in that. This guy can sense another person's thoughts, or at least one question, yes or no, or 2 answers, I should say. They can play 20 questions in different rooms. Before we called it telepathy, which doesn't exist, by the way, this is electricity. They're sending brain waves to each other. It can understand and distinguish between yes and no. This prototype works today. This lady controls a computer with her mind, although she's paralyzed. She's imagining moving her arms, pointing at the display, without actually moving her arms. She can type 8 words per minute. This is the fastest computer interface today. So if you think I'm talking about science fiction and imaginable worlds, here are the prototypes. It's working. This is what I study. Think now 30 exponential steps forward, which is hard. We just tested. Ask Barbie. Look, future articulation, brain interfaces, Science fiction is becoming science fact. And the only thing between science fiction and science fact is science and very, very hard work. And I think we in this room are very good at both. Third example, how, changes in science, for example, or imaginable worlds disrupt economies, disrupt our business models. This is hardware. Up there, it's wood. You maybe can see that. It's transparent wood because, Swedish science. They just took out the opacity from wood. You can still build a house from it. That is aluminum, otherwise known as the metal that is not so transparent. Now it's transparent, like in Star Trek, actually, where they say they have transparent aluminum in one of the episodes. I'm a Star Trek fan, so. This is glass. Everybody knows glass. It's always transparent. Very good. But this time, it's a solar cell. So now if you look at these things happening, if I try to follow the science and papers and so on, wait a second, what does it mean for architecture? What does it mean for energy in houses? And then you'll read the news. On March 11, California is getting so much power from solar that the wholesale prices turn negative. So California was bleeding money in March because the technology was much better than their business models. They had to innovate on the business model because the technology caught up. The future articulation here, the story I'm articulating to you, is that energy will be for free. We just demonetize that market, as many other things as well. So what's your business model if you're in energy? How can you make money? And this is the questions we ask. We need to ask them, because here's an average lifespan of a company like SAP. 50 years ago, we could live, 75 years, forever. 52% of companies in Fortune 500 have been merged, acquired, or gone bankrupt only since 2000. 52, half of them. So what's the average lifespan today? Any guesses? Huh? Yeah, of company like Fortune 500. 30? Yeah, 15. And next year? Exactly, because it's exponentially less. It's not 14. So see, things are happening fast, and you need to start imagining them and build them and predict them in that way with these tools I'm giving you, with this understanding. Because you will print your car in your garage because you are a customer of Local Motors from America. They don't believe in manufacturing of cars. You will print them yourself. Here's a prototype, driving. The car will be preloaded with all sorts of services. You will get your food, and your dog will be walked. They will wash your car while you're at work, because these ecosystems will come together. Then the car will drive you, obviously. Another prototype from Daimler, another customer, will drive you to your home, and you will maybe have your last meeting there. Or maybe you will just have a power nap, because it's beautiful to be driven around like that. And then you drive on this road that charges your car, because UK government understood, wait a second, if this is happening, we need a new ecosystem of energy here, right? We need new logistics for that. And then you step on your Hyperloop, because you live in Melbourne. You just here for lunch and go in the park because it's beautiful. Then you can go back and be in Melbourne in the evening. Yeah? And then you go to your house that is obviously 3D printed, assembled by robots, or in this case, actually printed by a robot that can be deployed anywhere and print a house in a couple of days. So you can move very quickly. Yeah? And if you don't believe in robots, as we saw today, I guess you've seen Boston Dynamics doing absolutely mind-blowing stuff. These things certainly can build a house if you program them well. And then you at home and put on your t-shirt, maybe from Under Armour, another customer of ours. And the t-shirt is for free. They just want your data because they have sensors. Because they changed their business model. They're not selling t-shirts. They're selling well-being, maybe. I'm making this up. But it's a very possible future, right? Because we can sense tumors and heart failures today. This is today, guys. What's there in 30 exponential steps? And then you maybe need a break, yeah? And you get your DNA sequenced. because it's cheaper than flushing the toilet 2022. That's the prediction. If you look at the prices of DNA scanning. So that's how future could develop. And these guys, this is a very known picture, a very known moment. What stuns me, that they said no to their patent on digital cameras over and over again. No, it's too big, it's too expensive. You know, the pictures are really shit. And you look at that thing, it's ugly. And then exponentially later, this happened. This is the camera. This is what Barbie has in her eyes to capture the thief. They couldn't see it year after year after year because they were living on a linear scale. They were thinking linearly and thought, okay, this happened the last 10 years, so this will happen the next 10 years. That's death. That's basically taking yourself out of business. This is the scale we live on, the exponential. And if you're somewhere here trying to make something different, trying to experiment, your prediction doesn't look good to the guys up here. They think, actually, that you're doing really badly. They continue to invent faster horses while you're going to space. And you will before they even know it. And here's the choice. I'm back to our choice. What do you see? Black canvas or lots of adventure? Which vehicle do you take into your own future? What's your culture? How do you understand? What's your empathy for your customers some years from now? How do you understand change? What's your design brief for the next 3, 5, 10 years? How do you feed it? What's your pipeline of innovations? And again, how do you understand what your customers want? What's your empathy, which is a great tool for innovation from Stanford University? You maybe heard of design thinking. Anybody? Yeah, a couple of people. Good. Design thinking is an innovation method that was basically born in Stanford University some decades ago, where empathy is one very important tool. This is to understand customer needs before customers understand it, and try to act on that need. It's called empathy. Everybody has it. Every human being. Now, SAP happens to be the most empathic company in the world on the top 10 list here, together with Facebook and Netflix and Alphabet and so on. Pretty cool. Why is this important for business? Well, obviously, I already told you, empathy is used for innovation. But the hard numbers tell the truth even clearer. People perform better when you have empathy. You increase in value compared to the 10 bottom ones. And you have better market capitalization. These two tables tell the truth about human nature. When we understand each other, what we need and what we want in a future that we predicted and articulated, we make money. Yeah. Good design is good business. Good empathy is also good business. Good innovation is good business. And this is the prediction from World Economic Forum on the skill sets of people that we will need 2020. Complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity. Creativity is on top third skill you need to drive business very, very soon. 2020 is, yeah, that's tomorrow. This is how fast it is. And then emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility. We can even talk about something called AQ instead of IQ. It's not. It's an adaptability quota instead of intelligence quota. How adaptable are you? And this is possible today. It seems hard, but it's possible because we have these tools. Now you have the understanding of how future moves. It's exponential and converging, right? Unexpected, but it's very, very imaginable, as I just tried in 3 examples. Now, how do you paint that future? What's the content of that future? And we have one tool that is very important, data. Data tells us what's happening right now. And data is basically the paint of the future. Data is great content. And content is king, right? But context is King Kong. Yeah. Because if you change context just a little bit, a totally new future appears in front of you. And you change your mind, hopefully. Don't drive too fast. You end up in a hospital. Content, context. This lady knows context very, very well. She created Flickr. You know Flickr? Yeah. She sold it to Yahoo. Very happy, $35 million. But she understood that all that content she collected, all the photographs, all that digital photography, is useless. That's just data. How do you paint something that have a context, a social context, like sharing pictures, sharing memories, like voting for what's the best picture, like having communities around imaging? She knew that. She made a great success. Then she went to make another company on the same principle. She started to ask questions, because people ask questions to understand other people. Yeah, that's empathy. What do you want? What do you need? Tell me your story. Articulate the future. So you ask questions, you make surveys, you make focus groups. She said, no, that's too expensive. I want a mass-produced and exponentially growing base of this data, this content. So she asked questions like this. Do you know what a cat wants when it meows? Who's the cat lover here? Cats are nice. Nobody likes cats? Terrible people. It wants love and food and go out again. How do you eat your yogurt? With fruit on top, of course. What else? I'm only 50% right, as you can see. This is addictive because you compare it to other people. And the questions are so diverse. Next question may be very, very deep. If you adopted a child and they have no way of figuring out, would you tell them? They have no way of figuring out. I think I would. You don't have to answer. But here's another question. And okay, this is a lot of content. 2,000 questions were made. They got 80 million answers because people just kept on answering. So that's all that content, all that data. So what's the context? What did we find out from all these diverse, questions? I tell you. If you like Pepsi more than Coke, you believe in UFO. Yeah. If you read Wired magazines, you prefer redheads. I read a lot of Wired magazines. It's a good magazine. If you use fake ID, you've been a teacher. Yeah, this is my Mac standing over there. I use an iPhone. Take my money. If you like the Cookie Monster, you believe in life after death. So Cookie Monster and Coke and Pepsi, you believe in UFO and life after death and Harry Potter and so on. This is some truths about us. 90% something certainty that this is very, very likely. Yeah, how large is your TV? This is a couple of years ago, so the TVs are bigger. The principle is the same. Look, data doesn't lie. I'm not judging anybody here. I'm just reflecting. Humans. This is empathy. I know this about you now. Data doesn't lie. You just have to ask the right questions. The algorithms that crunch the data, they are the brush of the future. Data is the paint. It's up to us to create the future we want to live in. And we have a lot of data. We've designed it becomes information. Information becomes knowledge, and then maybe wisdom. This is the hierarchy of needs here. We need wisdom. And if you have features, you put them in a bag, it becomes a product. But you need to serve it somehow, right? You need to build this relationship with your customers, partners, whoever. And I always say this, start with imagining the relationship. What do you want? How do you want to live? With whom? With the machines, with the humans, and so on in the future, with your customers, partners, with your startups, with your universities around you. The rest is easy. The technology, nice. We just do the science, it will solve itself. But wisdom and relationships are the top things we do. If you start on the bottom, you have a long journey up, and you have no idea where you will end up. So start with relationships. And again, we're building these relations today. I call it the Hue machine. Show me what I need when I need it, point me to opportunities I can't see, and so on. Hue machine is basically the symbiosis between human creativity and machine intelligence. the intelligence that we cannot have yet. And if we do this, we're really good. For example, a prediction is that 70% more product success have the planning in 2020. That's pretty good. This is why investing in that kind of future as SAP. We're becoming a fusionist. I'm a designer, and you ask me, what does a designer do for a strategy in an IT company, in an innovation center? Well, I try to understand the same thing as you. You take decisions every day. They point into the future, according to Einstein at least. How do they correlate? How do you conduct and orchestrate your decisions that they point at the same future all the time? We have a little machine we call Leonardo now. It's a system of things that does the impossible, superhuman, because machine learning, and does the automation of things that we can't do because they are too boring, too repetitive, and we just fail. We'll just speed up and show you a quick demo.
SAP Brand Impact is a fully automated and scalable video analytics service for brands, media agencies, and media production companies. Detected brand assets are framed in the video and correspond to the lines in the panel below. It allows interactive review of original video footage overlaid with detections. In the summary view, you get reports on brand exposure duration and size on the screen. In the detailed view, you get indication of each brand's screen coverage and frequency of exposure graph. There is also a possibility to download aggregated data in CSV and PDF formats. SAP Brand Impact Solution, accelerated by NVIDIA, enables customers to measure the impact of brand exposure on their business performance. It offers near real-time.
Look how accurate it is to spotting the logotypes, even on an iPhone reflection.
Transparency and easy integration with BI analytical tools.
This is superhuman ability. This machine vision, has learned how to spot logotypes, how to spot images. And it saves a lot of money for everyone. This is a nice chart. I won't read it for you. It does a lot of good stuff. But what it does, ultimately, is this. Before, people counted the logotypes, say, in sports events. How do we have our brand exposure right now? Where is the Volvo logotype or whoever? Click, click, click. Yeah? That's not work. That's labor. And you can make mistakes. You miss a logotype here and there because the hockey is, for example, a very fast game, right? Or racing. So we change how people work. Actually, we changed what work is. This is not work anymore. Machines can do this much better, so we can focus on higher value work. For example, making new business models. That's what we use our intelligence and creativity for. This also disrupted the whole business. Because now you pay only for what you get. And you know what you get live. We can spot your brand exposure while it's happening. And this is just one of the front-running applications we're making. And it changed what work is and the whole business model of that kind of part of an industry. Just that, just a little. This is just machine vision, a part of Leonardo system. Imagine this growing when you come with your ideas to us and tell us, wait a second, this is what we would like to do. So we're asking the clever questions today. We don't give you answers like 15 years ago, maybe. I didn't work at SAP by then, but I understand, here's a system, buy it. Here it is. You can have it. That's an answer. Today, we need to do this together with startups, with universities, with you, to innovate together on what is the smartest app? What is the smartest system? And there's only one answer to that, if you ask me. That's the one that makes you more intelligent. So we need to figure that out. Okay, let's wrap up. I hope I showed you at least one step ahead in this exponential change, in all these 30 steps, or 40 or 50 we will take together, that are a little bit unpredictable. And just to repeat, we need to understand futures, because they are exponential, beyond our understanding. We cannot calculate them naturally, because we think linearly, and that's wrong. They are unexpected, so try to imagine something fantastic, because it's probably more truth than you think. Think of NASA watching science fiction movies, because they are becoming science fact. So this is how we understand the future. This is why we have an innovation center, why I work with strategy there. And then when you design your future, Use your empathy. What's the relationship you will have on the market with whoever is there? Tell the future so you can have a conversation about it. Is this right? Is this what we want? I don't know. Show me a picture. That's the only way. Show me a paper. Read me a book that you wrote about that future. Because now we can have a conversation that is higher quality. And we have new tools. We have the data that is the paint and the algorithms that are the paintbrush. So we can focus on much higher human performance rather than the analytical, the repetitive. Machines can do that for us. And if it's too difficult to do for human brain, we have machines that are superhuman capabilities to do that as well, like the machine vision. So we can focus at being, human at last, smoking cigarettes and drinking wine and write poetry, I guess, because we're really good at that. So that's the part of where we're headed. And I show you one last application. It's called pen and paper. You maybe used it at some time. Very, very diverse. In this case, it's applied on a travel expense. You know, travel expense. You make a travel, you use a company vehicle. This gentleman, Mr. Aldrin, had to fill this in 1969. He went on a business trip. He used a company vehicle. It was a spacecraft. He went to the moon. Yeah, that's what he did. And he filled this in to get his $33 back. It's ridiculous. This is Buzz Aldrin's own travel expense for NASA. I was thinking, couldn't we use his intelligence, his courage, for something more intelligent rather than this automated behavior? Of course, then we couldn't. Today we can. So where do you want to be? What is the future you imagine? How can you come with that to us? How can we co-innovate on something? How can we articulate it? Show it to others to see if it makes sense to have this conversation that makes us more human than maybe ever in Homo sapiens history. This is from Elon Musk that imagined a future. We're going to Mars. He said it. And I tell you, once you say it and articulate it, people just do it. We will be on Mars. So the question is how we together can build a future we all want to live in. And you're welcome to do this with us. So let's go, disrupt something, and let's do some fun shit. Thank you very much.